Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Aries for October 2016. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, and see what's new on my blog. And if you have a future vision of yourself that you want to manifest, a dream life that you want to bring into fruition now, check out my Spiritual Warrior Weekend. You can attend live in Sarasota, Florida, or if you can't make it to Sarasota, you can attend virtually. This is in November, so check out my website, anniehelpsyou.com, to see more about that. What's going on in the month of October? We've got lots of sweet spots, some major challenges, and some great launch times. We've been waiting for this period of time of the year to be free of retrograde influences for launches, so I'm going to talk more about that. I want to talk about something specific for Aries energy before I get into the general transits and the sweet spots and the good days and the bad days. Okay. So I'm calling the theme of this month and the theme for beyond this month, melting into love. And this is because of short-term influences, but also Jupiter's movement into the 7th house. Last month, I promised that I would go into what Jupiter's sign change has to do with, or your experience and how it can be, what's going to happen here. And so I'm going to do that now. It turns out that you have short-term transits in the house where Jupiter is for you. So that means that what I'm about to talk about is short-term, has short-term focus for the month, but you will see a theme that is beginning for beyond. Aries placements have what's called a natural chart, which means that it's basically anything that's happening, like for instance, Jupiter is moving through the sign of Libra. That's the 7th house ruler. So for Aries placements, when Jupiter moves through the sign that rules the 7th house, it's also moving through the 7th house itself. So that's it makes everything doubly true, doubly relevant, doubly intense for Aries people. And if you have Aries rising, or your sun is in Aries, or your moon is in Aries, you experience life in a very intense way, and people experience you in a very intense way. I have Aries rising, so I'm very familiar with this. So Jupiter is expanding Libra, or partnerships, relationships, for everybody because it's in that sign. But it's doing double duty on your energies of relationship because it's also in this house. Earlier degree placements, and that's basically the March-born Aries, or around 0 to 9 degrees if you're watching for your rising sign, you're having that actual transit start now. But the middle to late degree placements are still going to have energy in the 6th house for Jupiter for a while longer, at the same time as the 7th house energy is being expanded because of Jupiter being in Libra. So this is all relevant for all of you, even though some of the more intense effects are staggered, because the earlier degree placements are going to have all of the 7th house focus at once, while the middle to late degree placements are going to have 7th house focus at the same time as 6th house focus for a while longer. Okay, so the 7th house is the house of marriage. It's one of the 2 houses of marriage, and Jupiter can tend to have an additive effect. So if you have not met your person who you want to marry, Jupiter in this sign and house can bring that person in. If you've met that person, it could move things along. It could bring engagement. It could bring marriage. It could bring children. It could bring business collaborations. It could bring harmony. Everything additive. So it's moving you along a continuum. It's very important to note, and this is one of my most important premises on which I do all of the horoscopes and all of my work. If you are not an energetic match for the things that you want to create, you will not create them. And no transit, even Jupiter in the 7th house in the sign of Libra at the same time, can get around what your inner story is. So if you have been waiting for your perfect person, or you found your perfect person, but you've been waiting to expand more with them, you have to make yourself a match on the inner planes for what you want to see in the outer planes. You are the common denominator in your experiences. And the more you own that, you are the common denominator, meaning all the issues that you have, if you pull in problems with people and your relationships, you are the person who preceded those relationships. So you have to work it out within yourself. So any self-development work that you can do is going to be so beneficial because Jupiter wants to expand your relationships like crazy. It wants to expand them. So if you do the inner work, then the degree to which they can expand is completely limitless. Some people will find that Jupiter will bring in multiple people of interest. Jupiter can multiply energies, so it can multiply romantic or other partners or other relationships. In some cases, Jupiter can make a mess of things in a situation where there's a problem to bring the problem in the forefront. Many people are going to wind up inviting other people, intentionally or unintentionally, into their relationships as part of dealing with the issues they have with their current partner. I'm not saying that's the best way of doing it. I'm not making a judgment if that happens. I'm saying that this is going to happen in many cases because when there are issues within the relationship that are not being dealt with, many times another reflector or party comes in, especially when Jupiter is expanding the energy of relationship. And in some cases, the new person that's brought in will be better. In some cases, they come in, do their work, and they leave. But ultimately, remember, you're the common denominator. And any influence of someone that comes in, the more you can be accountable for your creation and move along this path consciously, the better the outcomes will be. So, Jupiter can improve your relationships. It can also make you completely magnetic to having the help you need to do psychological work that will help you be a match for the life you want to have and the relationships you want to have. Jupiter is very lucky. So if you're praying for the perfect person for relationship counseling or individual counseling or trauma healing, you can be much more magnetic to that person with Jupiter in this placement. The seventh house also has to do with your client base. Whether you work for someone or if you're self-employed, your base of clients, your base of connections, your base of contacts has to do with the seventh house. And Jupiter expanding that can massively increase your client base. When Jupiter was moving through my seventh house in one of my charts years ago, that's when I started doing YouTube horoscopes. And all of a sudden I had a client and contact and following base that was not present when Jupiter had not gotten there. And this is a very common experience for people because Jupiter expands your client base, especially when you're doing work to facilitate that. If you've been feeling like you want to give having your own business a go, Jupiter will totally help you. If you have felt like you want to add work on the side of your regular job, Jupiter loves to do multiple things at once. Jupiter will help you. If you have a business already and you want to expand your client base, Jupiter will help you. And Jupiter can help you find the people that will help you to meet your objectives. So like a business coach or someone that has information or education that you need to expand your business and your client base. Jupiter can also be amazing for people who are in the public eye or politicians. It can make people, your image be impressive to others. It can expand how other people see you. So Jupiter can be amazing for that. It's also great for art-based work and artistic and aesthetic endeavors. It can also bring a new optimism to relationships. The energy of lifting, it lifts the energy. It can also cause you to decide you want to change the people that you're hanging out with to help you be more positive. If you want to be in a certain situation, you have to surround yourself by people who are doing those things. So if you want a job, but you're hanging out with people that don't have jobs, I'm not saying you shouldn't love your friends and adore them and not judge them, because that's wonderful. However, you are the company you keep, and the problems that perpetuate certain situations are partly perpetuated because of the commiseration. So uplifting your external realms to match where you're trying to go can be very helpful during this time. Aries energy can be really, really independent. We know this. And so that's why I'm calling this energy melting into love, even though it's also all kinds of other relationships, because when we move into collaboration and we open up to see the exponential expansion that can occur when we merge our energies with other people, that's what's at play here. Okay, so the middle and late degree placements, so like from 10 to 29 degrees, or like from the 31st of March through the rest of the sign for your birthday, you're still going to have the influence from from Jupiter in your 6th house for a short amount of time or a long amount of time. Like I mentioned earlier, you late degree placements, you might not start to have Jupiter move into your 7th house until well into next year. It's still going to be affecting the relationship space because it's in the sign, but it's co-affecting the 6th and 7th house. It won't move into full on 7th house placement until close to the time that Jupiter actually changes signs into Scorpio, which is still another relationship house. So this story is going to continue for a while. The 6th house is the house of health. If you have problems with your health, Jupiter in the 6th house can be your absolute best friend in resolving those problems. It can bring elucidation through information, medical testing, diagnostics, and any kind of information that helps you expand your understanding of what's at play. So I encourage you to search and search and search and search like crazy for answers, and don't accept no for an answer. I'm not saying that we shouldn't accept certain things. There comes a time to accept the way things are. However, many people have received a diagnosis that is not accurate. Even the best medical diagnostics can often bring an 80% probability in an accurate diagnosis. So if you keep searching for other ways to heal or improve your situation, Jupiter can assist you in doing that. It can also bring assistance through insurance or resources for medical help. Many people have insurance benefits that they don't know about. Massage, acupuncture. I've talked about myofascial release before, which gets listed under insurance as physical therapy. Myofascial release is one of the most powerful, energetic, physical body healing tools, and most insurance pays for it with a copay and some after you've met your deductible. You don't have to pay anything. So the more you explore and get familiar with your insurance benefits, you might find that you have a whole slew of support available to you for your intention of attaining and retaining optimum health. Jupiter in the 6th house also wants to expand and improve your work schedule. I forgot to mention earlier that if you want to see this story of Jupiter in Libra in the 7th house and Jupiter in the 6th house in a more compact written form, go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, click on blog in the top right corner, click on astrology, and then do a search in the bottom right for Jupiter. I've written an amazing, comprehensive blog on Jupiter through the houses and signs that can facilitate your working with its energy in the most profound way. I'm a huge Jupiter fan because Jupiter is my ruling sign and I understand it very well, and I think it's completely underutilized. So I guess like all energies, there's so much more potential in things than we're using them for. So anyway, so Jupiter wants to expand your work situation. If you need work, it can bring more work. If you want to work less, it can bring that. You know, if you write up your ideal schedule, Jupiter in the 6th house can help bring it to you. It's very magical. Animals are also in the 6th house. So cool experiences, meaningful experiences with animals, more pets, more freedom from a situation with a challenge with a pet. Anything involving animals also can be expanded when Jupiter is in this placement in the 6th house. So these are the things I've been thinking about specifically for Aries placements. Now I want to talk about the sweet spots, the sweet days for launching, birthing things into the world. We've been waiting for this open period of time from retrogrades, personal planets being retrograde, for all year. We haven't had a period of time the entire year of 2016 where we didn't have a personal planet retrograde or a shadow from it. So this is the window of time we've been opening, or we've been waiting for. So I want to go into more details about this and the dicey dates to move around and understand. I'm calling the theme of October intense impetus for new birth. So we know whenever we birth something, whether it's an actual child or whether it's a creative project, or whether it's a new dimension of an experience, anything new often will come with birthing pains. And this month is full of opportunities to have birthing pains, or also described as the pressure that it either takes to step into a new experience, or the pressure it takes to birth something into the tangible dimension, into the this reality, the third dimension. So There are awesome opportunities for launches, for new things coming in. And actually, this is the first month in all of 2016, starting on October 7th and running through around December 2nd, the first few days in December, that we don't have a personal planet retrograde or a shadow interfering with a launch. There have been a couple of other launch phases that I've recommended this year, but neither of those two main phases were completely clear of retrogrades. But we do have to have some time before this time now in October where we were doing some things, launching new things. But this is the period of time now that it's wide open from the perspective of the personal planets being clear of retrograde. So this month is just like such a mixed bag because it has some beautiful aspects, actually even starting at the end of September. September 26th is the first one, I'll go into that. And straight through the end of the month, October 30th is my favorite day of the month for birthing, which I'll get more into that as well. But in between all of those openings for pushing things forth, moving things along, there is a lot of pressure and opposition, challenges. Sometimes it's the challenge, the opposite, that the thing opposing us that actually creates the intense impetus to do something different. And so we get comfortable in our lives and in circumstances, and sometimes it's easier to just let things be than it is to rock the boat in a way that you would have to be able to create a new life, to birth a project, to birth a new dimension of reality. So this month, it seems like it's completely astrologically designed to bring that pressure that's necessary for the new birth. So if you have brought something out at the end of September, or if you're preparing to launch something, just know you might have a little bit of touch and go before the energy is more clear. The energy gets more clear in November, or actually starting October 30th. So I'll give you some good dates that I really like for launching things. And know that if you sign up for my free email newsletter on my website, anniehelpsyou.com, that you get a more detailed review of the month ahead in writing, along with more dates and things that go on in those dates, and good dates and challenging dates, etc. So I'm giving you some summaries of some of the points here, but you can get more access to that a month ahead of time by signing up for my free newsletter. Okay, so October 1st, we have, well, actually backtrack. September 26th is one of the most wonderful days of the year for expansion, growth, benevolence, luck. It just happens to be that we're kind of fresh off of Mercury going direct on September 22nd. So it's going to be a great launch date, but I'm putting some conditions in there. If you're launching something that is a relaunch, is a phase of something that is a short-term phase, is addressing something short-term, is like a leg of a journey or a piece of something, then September 26th is fabulous. If it's something that this is the unveiling, the first time someone is ever seeing it, you might want to wait until that October 30th date if you can help it, or at least into October, because you want that Mercury retrograde energy to be more clear when you're launching something for the first time or something long-term. Sometimes we fall under this misconception that you can't do anything in Mercury retrograde or shadow, and that's not true. You can do plenty of things, and you can check out my Mercury retrograde video to see more about that. But the things it mostly dictates is short-term ventures and legal contracts. That you want to avoid is long-term ventures and legal contracts, because the energies are murky and they're subject to change. So that's why I say if you've got something that's like a leg of a journey or something like that for a launch, then September 26th is amazing. Also, ultimately, you always have to trust your intuition and your own flow, because there are sometimes, very often, that personal transits in your personal chart will supersede things in the general transits, so that's a very important thing to note always when you're listening to astrological dates and forecasts. So September 26th is an amazing day. October 1st is another awesome day. Venus in Pisces is making a trine, which is the most favorable angle in astrology. to Neptune in Pisces, and that brings amazing healing and artistic, anything having to do with healing, the healing arts or artistic expression, and Venus, which rules love, beauty, and money. So that's a sweet angle. October 26th, we have Venus in Sag making a 60-degree angle to Jupiter in Libra. And a 60-degree angle is a favorable angle, but it's one that you often have to do something to activate its full glory. Sometimes trines will come and you can activate the energy as well, but sometimes they'll just bring blessings without you having to do much. But the 60-degree angle that we have on October 26th really wants some sort of action. So Venus combined with Jupiter is like love, beauty, money in a beautiful angle to expansion and growth and luck. So that's a sweet day. My favorite day of the month, and mark this with a big star in your calendar, is October 30th. We have a new moon at 18 degrees of Scorpio. This new moon is conjunct Mercury, and it also trines Neptune. So we've had a lot of new moons this year that have sort of been conflicted or afflicted with their energies because there were difficult angles going on at the same time. And you do have some challenging energy the days before the new moon, but by the time the new moon comes, most of that should be clear. So it's a really great launching pad for anything. You're free of the Mercury retrograde shadow at the beginning of the month. You're free of the challenging angles that dance throughout the month. And so it's just a really nice time. Okay, so there are more dates that I give in my newsletter that are good dates with some more details there too. So some dates that will likely come with growing or birthing pains or challenges are October 5th, the 15th and 16th, the 19th, and the 28th, 29th. And again, like I said, there are more challenging dates throughout the month of October, which you can see the full list when you sign up for my newsletter, but I don't have time to go into all of them. There are just so many. So October 5th, we have Mars in Capricorn squaring Jupiter in Libra. When these planets come together in this angle, it can often lead to overpromising or having overpromised something and not being able to deliver it, or some sort of overextension of action or will. It could also manifest as obstacles in the way of you trying to do something. Mars is action, and when Jupiter is making a difficult angle, it's like you don't have the great expander on your side. It's being antagonistic. So you'll see some things come up there. October 15th and 16th, it's just like a powerhouse of challenge. I think that challenge can be a very, very, very positive thing. So the way I frame challenges, especially if you are being accountable for your own happiness, if you are taking responsibility for the quality of your experience, we can't control the things that will happen always, right? Very often it's completely out of our control, certain destined events. However, we can control the quality of our experience. And when we have challenges, it often causes us to activate that aspect of free will that we have in our charts and stand up for it and do something about it. And sometimes that takes pressure. So on October 15th and 16th, we have this is a yearly event. The Sun opposes Uranus. That makes a 180-degree angle, and it is a challenging angle. So things can come up that can be jostling, erratic people or inconsistencies interfering with something you're trying to do. Mercury is also squaring Pluto, so power figures, someone using their power not in a good way. That could be interfering with your personal expression. And October 16th, we have a full moon at 23 degrees of Aries, and this is a supermoon. This is the fourth supermoon of the year. We have 6 supermoons this year. A supermoon is when the moon is closer to the earth, and you can see it because the moon actually looks bigger. You ever look in the sky and say, whoa, the moon looks huge. It's like right there. That's a supermoon. And we're more affected by everything that the moon affects when there's a supermoon. The gravitational pull on the earth and its inhabitants are increased dramatically when the moon comes closer, especially when it comes into its fullness. So anything that would happen on a full moon will likely be magnified. So that could be lots of emotions, not only negative emotions, there could also be positive emotions. I've had many full moons where I was just brimming with joy, overflowing emotions that we're happy. So we're not going to assume that every full moon has to bring some negative drama, although it tends to, because I always use the example of a dog when it gets wet. I love dogs. And when they get wet, they shake, 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 right? And if water represents emotion here, and it does in general, it's like at the full moon, we shake, shake, shake off the excess emotions that we don't process or deal with throughout the month. So this supermoon is in Aries, and one possible challenging aspect of this could bring a health impetus to focus on your health. So could that come through crisis? Yes, maybe, some sort of incident with your health or symptoms or something that maybe they were in the backdrop and then they just got up right in your face. Something like that. Something having to do with yourself, your self-esteem. A very positive aspect that could manifest with a full moon in Aries is amazing recognition and being thrown out into the limelight with it being all about you. Something coming to fruition, something coming to manifestation involving you and what you're doing and what your image is. And, so many people will be cast out in the limelight in this supermoon time. It's really important to note that these transits, even though I give you the dates of them, we can often feel them days before. And the bigger transits, we can feel them weeks or months before sometimes. But the transits that are present this month, you could feel them within days before or within days afterwards. I tend to feel things early. So most of the time when there's a challenging transit, before it comes, it's all right in front of me. And then by the time it actually comes, it's past already. The tension is past, kind of like when you're, when a race car driver is going around a track. And when it gets to the point, if you've ever done like go-karts or anything, then you're like excited to go forward, and then you have to slow down because there's that turn and it's awkward, and then you can zoom for the straight track. So that's similar, I liken it to that. So there's a lot of antagonistic energy at this time, but there's also a lot of chance for fruition, and there's a lot of pressure that's building that can facilitate your birthing of new things. The next transit that can be challenging is Mars and Pluto conjunct in Capricorn, and this occurs on October 19th. So when you have Mars, the god of war, and Pluto, the god of the underworld that rules birth, death, transformation, rebirth, atomic energy, get together, all of those traits will likely be magnified. Now, people can use that for good. People can have their ambitions soar during this transit and get thrown into a position, again, of recognition. There's a theme of this. But there could also be negative energy that brews to the point of verbal or even physical violence. People will be on edge, and angers and tensions may run high. So just be really careful around this time. Don't push anything, if there's a situation that could be sketchy, and just breathe. October 28th and 29th, Mars, again, is in an aspect with a planet that it doesn't work well with when it's in a square. So Mars square Uranus, especially in Aries, which is like this fiery catapult of energy, and Aries rules Mars. So there's again, this combination of this very forceful, assertive energy. So just be really careful with your actions and other people's actions. And, if things like, I went to the library the other day and I saw two security guards going up, like one called the other one, and I was like, that doesn't look like a good situation. I think I'm going to get out of this situation. Like that, just kind of be looking around for things that don't look right or feel right, and distance yourself from them, and don't purposely put yourself in any situations that could be like that if you can help it. So those are the things that are most on my mind for the general transits for October. Again, definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, see what's new on my blog. I have a new blog on there for making powerful wishes for the new moon in Scorpio, specific for Scorpio wishes. You can advance your wishing power when you align the new moon wishes with the subject the subjects of the sign that the new moon is in. So you can read more about that on my blog. And while you're there, definitely sign up for my free email newsletter, and you will get more details the month ahead about the upcoming transits, often some additional details than I give in the horoscopes. While you're there, if you are looking to expand your monetary earning potential or magnetic potential, check out my Unleash Your Money Magnet. So you can click on my programs and check out my other programs in my Unleash Your Money Magnet. So I hope that you have a wonderful month of October. If you want to become a spiritual warrior, then you can check out my Spiritual Warrior Weekends. I'm having a live and virtual option for that experience in November. So you can see more of that on my website. Hope you have a wonderful month. See you soon. Bye.